Just a brush, a tiny piece of paper, 3 colors, and a tissue. That's all you need to paint this little landscape in just a few minutes. Painting watercolor can feel a bit intimidating at first. If you're not sure how to start or how to keep going, you are not alone. I felt exactly the same way when I first started. That's why I love painting this tiny landscape painting. It's simple and super satisfying to do. Today I will show you how I paint it in real time, step by step, and you may be surprised by how doable it is. For the colors, we just need 3 simple shades: a blue tone, a warm brown, and a cold green. You don't have to use the exact same color, just grab whatever you have that's close enough. The idea is to keep it really minimal and relaxed. I will start by wetting the paper with clean water. Make sure the entire surface is evenly wet, not dripping, but with that nice shiny look. Once the paper starts to look matte, I will go back in and re-wet it. That helps slow down the drying and gives us more time to play with the paint. I know this isn't the most visual part of the painting, but it's actually super important. Now for the sky, I'm using Prussian blue for this part. It's one of my favorite colors. Gently spread the blue across the wet paper. Don't worry about being too perfect here. Just let the paint move around naturally. Since we are going to have some white clouds later, I'm keeping the blue lines and ridge to create a stronger contrast. You can dab in a little more intense blue in a few areas to add a bit more variations. This helps give the sky some depth and makes it a bit more dynamic. Now we are going to use a really simple technique to create those soft, fluffy white clouds, and it's actually really fun once you try it. Grab a tissue, crumble it a little, and pinch one color to make a tiny tip. And gently press that color onto the paper wherever you want to lift out a cloud. You see the tissue just absorbs the paint and leaves behind soft white shapes like these. Kind of magical, right? And don't forget to switch to clean part of the tissue while lifting. Press a bit harder for the top of the cloud to lift more color and make it brighter. And for the bottom, press more lightly to keep a hint of blue. This creates a soft, airy shadow. This only works if the paper is still wet. That's also why I like to wet the paper twice at the beginning to keep it damp longer. You can also pinch a small tissue tip to gently adjust the edges and shapes of your clouds. If your clouds don't look supernatural right away, it's totally normal. It takes some practice to get the feel for lifting and shaping them. I also shared essential techniques and little tricks in my online watercolor course for beginners. There are lots of relaxing and fun projects. Feel free to have a look. Once the paper is totally dry, we can move on to the foreground. I'm mixing a bit of green with some burnt umber to tone the color down. Then use the tip of my brush to add a few quick curved strokes, just to suggest the shape of some tall grass. I'm netting them tilt a little toward the right, like there's a breeze coming from the left. It gives the whole thing a bit more life. We don't need to be precise here. It's more about creating a natural, slightly wild look. Some strokes overlap or cross each other, and that's totally fine. And for the darker blades of grass, I just use less water in the mix. I really like this part. It's loose and kind of meditative. We are just making simple strokes, but it almost feels like the grass is dancing a little. I also mix in a touch of blue to vary the greens and make them feel more vibrant. And finally, one of my favorite little details, I like to add a few tiny dots, either along the grass or floating up a bit, like they are drifting in the wind. It's just a small touch, but it makes everything feel a bit more alive. And that's it, just a brush, 3 colors, and a tiny piece of paper. We've ended up with this little landscape painting. You can also try different versions, change up the colors, add a few elements, or experiment with a different kind of sky. That's the fun part about painting tiny. You can explore lots of ideas without feeling overwhelmed. And if you want to explore watercolor in a simple and relaxing way like I do, check out my online miniature watercolor course for beginners and enjoy 40% off for a limited time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm Nan, a miniature watercolor addict. See you next time!